o'clock. And this, we shall call the Sustainability Committee of the City of Tarpon Springs to order. And the first thing we shall do is have a roll call.
Perfect. Okay. Chairperson Carol Miggett.
Present.
Siobhan Nehan.
Present.
Melina Scally.
Present.
And Loretta Ricchetti.
Present.
Thank you. Everyone is here. 4 members. Excellent.
And the first order of business is to approve the minutes. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
And they are.
I'm sorry, who made the first motion?
I
Dr.
did.
Scally, okay.
Okay, so
Great.
public comments, and look, we have a person from the public.
Denise Menino, 470 Cypress Street, Tarpon Springs. And I'm assuming we're going by the same rules as the BOC, 3 minutes. Do you have a timer?
I think we can probably just look at the clock. That's
Okay.
probably.
Yeah, I'm hoping to break the ice so that other people will come to the meeting and share also. And first item is that I'd like to commend this committee for the letter that was written regarding the Forbes lot and, the requisites for choosing whatever was chosen to use green infrastructure in the plans. And I appreciate that. And I hope that I heard correctly that the plan that was selected also will collaterally include the Mother Mears parking lot being turned back into a commons, a park, green space, which I think is really important. A lot of people in Tarpon Springs wanted the lot to be maintained the way it was because it was a gathering place. But if they, are able to return that to a public space with a stage, it would be great for the community. And it would be a lot like what they do in Europe with the city squares. And second, I'd like to echo Sue Swenson's public comment at the last BOC meeting because she was mentioning the value of taking time to listen to other committee and board meetings as we were able. I know that it's kind of a challenge time-wise for us to do that. I generally, if I know a meeting has been posted on YouTube, I'll listen to it while I'm getting ready for work or I'll listen to it while I'm commuting. But it really helps us connect the dots and interface more seamlessly with the other committees and what they're doing and understand kind of the overall experience of the community without just being little pieces of puzzle that are kind of scattered. We're more linked, and I think that was a great comment, and I really, I was really impressed that she said something. Also, something that I think that is going to be an increasing concern, this is non sequitur, but in the future, and I think that we need to just keep our eyes on it just generally in the community, as various places around the country are connected to the devastating effects of energy consumption, water use, and toxic pollution as a result of the servers that are used for AI. And I know that that's happening in Tennessee right now. The Tennessee Bar Association is addressing this issue on behalf of the citizens of South Memphis because their water supply has been tainted. But I think, anytime we could avoid using AI, it's better for the environment. Most people have no clue, and I think it might be a good idea to give information to the public regarding the environmental impact of the AI servers in general. I'm off? Okay. Just wanted to ask one more thing, is that everybody take a look at, keep our radars tuned in for Florida SB 80, which strips local governments of the right to protect their communities. And it was mentioned by Commissioner DiDonato, and there is a group that is challenging it right now. And you want to look it up? I think it would be good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Marmino.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's important to have comments from the public to remind us of things to consider. And even though we know about these things, the more they can be brought up, that it becomes something that can jar our memories, get a broader discussion. So thank you, Denise, for initiating this, and I hope that you're an example and other people will come and join you. So thank you. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Living with Wildlife presentation request update. So Holly?
Yes. Just going to bring all of my stuff. Check. Okay. So as you can see, we don't have a presenter here tonight, but I have followed up on all of the requests from the committee to get a presentation formulated about this. So I spoke with Barbara Hoffman. She connected me with our extension agent at Brooker Creek, who I already am familiar with in the peer, circles here in Pinellas County. Lara Milligan is her name, and she actually recommended the a fish and wildlife agent out of Lakeland. So I had a great conversation with her. Her name is Rhonda Latour. So Rhonda is essentially a coyote expert. Rhonda knows so much about coyotes and is very willing to do presentations. However, the sticking point is that she could literally spend every day, all day on coyotes, she said. She gets so many reports. Pinellas County has more, I think she said, than any other county in the state, which kind of tracks being that we're the most densely populated county. The predominant number of calls that they get are actually from below Highway 60, so the southern half of the county. However, she is very interested in doing a presentation somewhere in the northern half of the county, but obviously for her time and to utilize resources to the best of, everyone's, just to benefit the most people, she would like for it to be a larger sort of public gathering type of presentation. So that's kind of where we left things. I said I would bring this back to you all, let you know the status that, while obviously everybody wants information, but I think it would be incredibly amazing if we could find a way to sort of spearhead a larger one. So I have a little bit of research to do with could we use city facilities and all of these types of things, and also if you all were supportive of this, how would we spread the word to get that attendance that she really would, need to show up to make it, as successful as possible. So that's kind of where the coyote presentation. Let me check my notes and make sure that I didn't miss any of her information. October is actually a very active time. They're breeding right now, so it is top of mind. She did recommend, kind of moving quickly on it if we want to do one for the fall, because by the spring it will be not as top of mind anymore. And essentially, just concentrating again the information to get it out to as many people at once was her recommendation and preference. She said she's tried, I think, in the past to sort of do one in the northern portion of the county, but it just has never taken off for whatever reason. So if you all thought that, between Tarpon Springs residents and any other circles of influence that you might be able to reach out to. Obviously, we have social media. We have lots of, potential connections if again, the city is able to be a host for it, which I have to verify that. If that's something that you all want to pursue, that's kind of where we left things.
I think it would be so good. And if we couldn't have it at the Heritage Center, I bet we could have it at the college. Lipa Ratner has a really good auditorium. Actually, they have two of them. And so that holds a lot of people. I've done events there, and they're well attended. And then that would bring in other people. I know that in my neighborhood, there are coyotes walking around all the time, and I know my neighbors would really be interested in this.
Okay.
They're beautiful animals, but people are afraid of them.
Right.
And, you know, they don't like, there's been studies that show they really do not like the human voice. So if you speak, they'll go away. They don't want to be around us. But, you know, nature is something that people fear because we don't understand it. So I think this would be just brilliant to get people to respect them, but also understand how wonderful they are and the contribution they make. Does anyone else have something they would like to say?
I do like the idea of reaching out to Lieber Ratner and seeing if that would be a good venue, just because they would also have a good mechanism to sort of get that information out. You know, they do a lot of different presentations in the community. I don't know what the logistics of that looks like, but I think Lieber Ratner would be a good venue for a bigger draw.
I
And it
think we
seemed,
just contact Christina, who's the director.
okay,
No, but that's all we
yeah.
do.
I don't know if they're, how far in advance they plan their events. So I imagine they put out their monthly calendars pretty, you know, a few months in advance, but if we were
would
trying to
have-
do.
I think we could do it pretty quickly, as long as we reach out.
Yeah, I like that
And I
idea.
would be happy to reach out to
Okay.
Christine.
That would be
I mean, I know her.
excellent. If you know her personally, that
I
could
do.
be an effective means of, you know, building that connection. I mean, you have the connection of building
I do.
the bridge. That would be fabulous. Yes, like I said, Rhonda's concern was just timeliness and making sure that the message reaches people during the time that they may actually be seeing them, because during the winter, you know, it will settle down and they will be less active and people will be, you
They're
know,
very active.
less concerned.
If-
So
October is, sorry.
October's pretty full. I mean, I don't think we will
Right.
get it by the end of October, but
If they're
November
breeding
would
now, does that mean the spring we might have more
be
coyotes
right,
to be paying
right?
attention
So
to?
it's true. I don't know. I am not a coyote expert. I do not know their gestational period, but that is a valid point, right?
Okay.
So if they're breeding now, in theory, there could be more showing up on the scene. So I think that's a
Yes,
great
but other
point.
ones do pass away, you know,
Mm.
it's a cycle.
Sure.
I think it's a great idea, and I'd be willing to even record our presentation, and maybe we
Ooh.
can put that on to maybe our website for people
Mm.
who can't make going
That'd
in
be great.
person.
It's like a PSA that
Right.
could be maybe even released a few times
People
a
could be
year.
driving to work and at least listen
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
I think that all sounds great.
I'll mention
Cool.
that, Christine, that you do that.
Very cool. And I will
Because
get
I know
back.
they have equipment,
Mhm.
but, so they could, if you had equipment, you could set it up. I know there's always an issue there of someone running it,
Running what? The AV.
the recording.
Oh, I
yeah.
would just record on my phone and use my tripod. That's what I've
Okay.
done in the past.
That's
Okay,
great.
That's a
that'd be
good
great.
point that if they
If
have
you,
AV
Dr. Mickett,
equipment-
would
I'll
let me
reach out
know,
to them
right,
and
if
then
there's
let you know.
availability, and then I can get back in touch with Rhonda and try to bring
Yes.
that together.
Okay.
Fabulous, okay,
I'm willing to use whatever equipment's available.
okay.
Okay.
No, I think that's a really good idea. I like that. Okay, so that is that.
Okay, you're up next,
I'm
Holly.
still here.
Yeah.
Still me. Okay, in the agenda packet, you all, oops, let me put it in presentation mode. Yeah, you absolutely may. Okay, so in the agenda packet, I included the project prioritization list from the the solar feasibility study, rather. And it is it is summed up in a very nice, a very clear way. Essentially, we looked at 8 sites. There was a site assessment that was done back in April. The consultant that is working with us on this project, DRMP, they then did a site assessment summary. They did an energy efficiency analysis and gave us lots of other suggestions on ways we could reduce our energy, load prior to looking at actually installing any solar systems. And then this is the third component of the study, which is the project prioritization list.
And
So-
when did this come out? Did it just come out?
So they sent this in early September, but our September meeting was a little bit busy, and also I hadn't had time to fully review it at that point. So yes, it's very timely.
Very good.
It's great. I'm super pleased with it, and I love that it's, everything is,
Last page is really good.
yes, the last page, I think I will just skip to that actually, because it's kind of brings everything,
Make
whoops. Oops.
I mean, I printed it out because I couldn't get it to there. No, that's
No.
not it.
Well, we might not be able to turn it. I don't think we'll be able to turn it, but. And it is.
You want to look, I printed it out. You want to look at it?
I can shoot it.
Zoom. Okay,
We have
so
to list
the
it
top
in order of
project, which is exciting, is the community center at 400 South Walton Avenue. Essentially, they looked at a combination of factors to rank the projects. They looked at, how well the building is prepared for solar installation. They looked at the current energy usage and how well a solar system could offset that usage. And of course, overall, just cost and approachability from that regard. And so the community center came out on top. It's a very, the community center and the library and I believe the course maintenance building at the golf course all have, newer roofs. They are like a standing seam metal roof, so they're actually pretty easy to install solar systems on. There are clips that attach them that you affix the panels with so that you'd never have to puncture or do anything at all to compromise the roof itself. So really, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we have some money set aside for solar, so the question will be, from the staff and from the I guess like from our departmental perspective is finding the rest of the money for, to push one of these into, into the process of actually trying to procure the system and getting a construction firm on board and all of that. So
is there a budget line for solar?
so we do actually have, I'm going to go to the next page.
In that,
So we have down in, we have a line item for the first time ever in the sustainability budget. It's in capital outlay, and it's $225,000. So
is it in
scooching
that page?
over here. Yes, you'll see it in the lower right corner. It's at the very bottom,
I see.
and it's its own kind of,
But
line
that's
item.
for all cap, not just for solar.
It's specifically lined for solar. So that's why we asked for those funds.
I see, but it wouldn't cover the,
It would not cover the community center, for example. However, we can look for other funding, and I feel like there's a possibility of being able to bridge that gap. So I'm very hopeful, and it's, the next big step is taking that big step to then start talking about, what it looks like to really invest in a project of this size. And just to make sure that we're making the best choice, which is why we had the feasibility study done.
Right.
It lays it out pretty clearly.
how can our committee help to make this a city priority?
I would say, I mean, it made it into the budget, which is great. So that I feel like is a good, solid baseline. I am not exactly sure. We haven't actually taken, you all are the first to see the results of the solar feasibility study. So we haven't actually presented it anywhere else yet. So I would.
BOC hasn't seen this?
No, not yet. I mean, like I said, we hadn't really had time to fully, digest it. And the budget just got approved at the end of August. This came out at the beginning of September. So it's all kind of like flowing together. So just thinking about, the funding aspect of it, there may be something. I'm not sure that I have an answer for you tonight, but I think that you all just obviously giving your support. And I mean, there may be, like I said, there may be a way to, that you all want to document, that you all want to send a message to the board about it. I'm just not really sure of what that is at this moment. The biggest issue really is timing. And if you didn't have a chance to read it before tonight, completely understandable, but you can go back and look at what the consultant said about timing. So there are changes to the rules, to the laws that allow for cities to claim tax credits for clean energy investments. So because of those changes, we have a shorter timeline in which to begin this project. But I think we can accomplish it, it's
Well, it
just,
has to be done
it has to be
December.
December 2027.
Yeah.
So
That's-
not 2026, but
Right.
2027. So started construction July 2026, finished by December 2027. So it's a little bit, I try not to look at it as limiting. I think it's just, it directs our priority. So,
Has to start before July 4th, 2026, and it's already mid-October, so get this approved, find the extra money, and get
it's a very,
started, so it needs to move very
the good news
quickly.
is beginning of construction has essentially two different definitions. Beginning of construction, can be just an investment in a certain amount of the materials. So you could have just purchased a certain amount of the materials. Typically, they'll say 5%, but a better cushion is 7 or 10% of the materials, or physically having obviously broken ground to institute some type of construction. This is a little bit different. Rooftop solar, you can't really do there's not really a groundbreaking for that, but that is, yeah, exactly. So that is what the definition of beginning of construction is now considered. So even if we weren't physically installing the first panel by July 4th of 2026, as long as we had invested, again, that capital and purchased some of the materials up to the percent that would count us as having started construction.
Given that the city has installed solar before, is there a company from which the city
I think-
deals and buys these panels?
I think that it would be a specific, we would have to take it through the whole
Bidding
procurement,
process.
right, process. I have lots of resources to look for example, requests for proposals out in the world, other cities that have done this. But I think that just because it's been it's been a couple of years since we previously contracted with the company, so I think we would have to do that. There's always the possibility that we look at other contracts that other cities have used, and that's something that we can do. So there are definitely like a few different pathways that we can go down for actually, choosing how we want to approach the procurement process.
And is your judgment that the city would only be able to do one of them?
So that's a really great question, and that's part of kind of the think through everything before you act. I think I would have to be very sure, and again, that's really a procurement and finance backed decision process. So, part of me thinks, sure, you could invest in several different ones to get them started, but then you also still have to get them completed, right? So I think that's the big picture if we were counting on being able to get those tax credits, that we would really want to make sure that we could see one project through to completion. So that's kind of where I stand on it right now.
So really, 30% tax credit is a good incentive.
It really is. It's money that, you don't want to leave on the table if you can possibly help it. So it's a huge benefit to city governments who are investing in clean energy,
Yes.
whether it's production and they're selling it to someone, or whether you're just, again, putting it on a building, offsetting your own energy costs and usage. So, I do see it as a priority to get one solid priority project to completion that would be the goal.
I do them all.
It's a lot of money, though.
It's,
Because
it's,
City Hall is 1,560,000.
Right, but
City
they're
Hall
saying
wasn't,
City Hall, the roof isn't in good
Yes,
shape.
right,
so-
right.
I'd have to
But
do a
this
whole
one's
study.
only 19,000 for the cart barn, even though it's but the but these things would be a good investment.
Oh, yeah.
it's really, it is kind of eye-opening to see how, in some cases, it lines up, again, very directly with the amount of solar that you could put on the building and the amount of energy it would produce, almost directly offsetting what we currently are pulling, right, and paying for. So it's a pretty smart, I think, long-term investment for sure.
Number two, the course maintenance, it says some concern with golf ball strikes.
Yes. So, and that is a point, right? There are panels that they make now that are hardened for hail, obviously. People have installed them. I say people, whether it's individuals or commercial entities, other municipalities have installed them around, sporting fields. There are multiple, I think, workarounds, for that.
Too, they have,
Yeah.
There are nets, exactly. So it's definitely not it's not an impossibility to really think of having one just because of golf balls.
Can we find out how much the electric bill is for the community center and for all of these, or at least the top 4? So we can see how much money is actually going to be saved,
It should
because that would
be-
help
Yes, I can do that.
Sell it.
sell
Right.
it, right?
And also with the 10-year, 5-year, 10-year
Right.
outlook,
Yeah. And what's
like the payback,
warranty?
what's the payback?
Right.
Maybe
Usually it's
we as a
7
committee
years.
can recommend several on the list that we,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Usually it's 7 years for residential.
Yes, I can't speak to the actual payback period on these, but I do know, they eliminated a few things that would obviously add to the payback period if you obviously have to do improvements beforehand and you're investing in, some type of new roofing or upgrade. That makes it a less, savvy investment, obviously. The ones that are
Improve your roof anyway.
The ones that are the roofs that are ready though, that's, it's just a lot simpler to
Yeah.
go ahead with
Right.
those first. So,
Does the city
exciting.
have to get insurance like residential people do? And I know for residents, if your roof isn't any good, they force you to replace it.
that is true. Yes, I'm sure that we do have to have, I
Right,
don't know the ins and
so
outs of that though.
Replacing the roof
Yep.
might be,
We do have sure, it's possible if there's a roof replacement on the horizon that you could then dovetail, and some cities do that. They essentially have a policy that states you're going to add solar whenever you redo a roof. However, there's obviously a budgetary component to that. But that is something that some cities have been able to, sort of combine into the process of like facility maintenance.
are there solar grants anymore, or is that all been eliminated?
That's a tough one. I don't know of anything. The tax credits is really
Right.
that's the bread and butter for municipalities as far as, making the investment and getting something back for it. It's sort of like free money if you spend it first. But other than that, there's really not. There have always been more supportive programs for financing and, co-ops as far as like community buying, programs for solar for residential. There's a lot more resources for that.
So
But-
here's something I don't understand. Does Tarpon Springs pay taxes?
We do not, no.
So then
Municipalities
how
not?
do you get a tax credit if you don't pay taxes?
Well, that's a great question. So we are a tax exempt entity, but the way the federal government tax code was written, I'm going to try to do my best to explain this properly. Essentially, we say that the investment that we made, that we like overpaid essentially. So they look at it as more of like a rebate.
Ah,
So that's just the way the tax code was written for the IRA bill. That's where all of this was written into code.
because that doesn't work for residential,
No, but sadly, those tax credits are expiring
right?
at the end of the year, but there were tax credits also available for
For
residential
people
users.
who don't have regular income, the tax credit,
Would be, right, it
Right.
applies differently, correct, to
Right.
different
Right.
individuals, just like your tax brackets apply differently to different people. But, yeah, so when the IRA included cities, municipalities as being able to access these tax credits, that was really a new thing. We had never been able to do
Right.
that in the past. So just only had a couple of small window to do it. We did submit for the solar, of course, at the RO plant, and the government is shut down right now. So our check hopefully is, hopefully it will come
Ending.
at some point. Yes. So that will be a hugely exciting day. And, it's my hope that we can take perhaps some of that money to reinvest into the next project. So
That's
that's, yes. So that's kind of, I think, the best way to kind of keep the sustainability flowing. But it also, again, is again, that's a lot to do with finance and where the money came from in the first place. So I don't get to totally, I don't get to dictate that. But I'm hopeful that we can create a precedent to take some of the tax credits and reinvest them and keep moving it forward.
What's the process? So is it up to you to present
It's,
this or a group of
Well, it's
people?
up to our department. So yes, I would say me, I mean, really, obviously with like Tommy's help as being the department director. But I mean, yes, it would be a team effort, again, with procurement, because doing a project of this size, project administration would be involved, being as that it is a project on a city facility. So I think it kind of has to all spool up, and I haven't initiated a project of this size before. So it would be a learning opportunity and very exciting. So I think, yep, now that we have the, clear prioritization, I don't know that, we just have to, the funding aspect of it is really what I think will dictate which of the, I would say, top 3 projects. I mean, when you look at the way it breaks down, there are really only 3 that would be, solar ready essentially. And that's the community center, the maintenance facility, and the library.
The phase
So
one.
And
the top
forest
3,
maintenance Facility is at the golf.
it
golf
is
course.
correct.
So would you report to us next meeting
Yes.
what the progress is on this?
Sure.
And if there's anything that we can do to support it or
Yep.
move it forward?
Absolutely. That sounds
I
like
think
a
we'd
good-
all be willing to attend any meetings that you would need us at.
Sure. I
for-
mean,
to support.
right now, in the project initiation, there's not really a lot of outside input. It really is a staff, interdepartmental, again, sort of staff thing. But I will, if we're having any, challenges, any extra support can't be a bad thing. So I really appreciate that. And I will absolutely bring anything back to you, if something comes up between now and then, I can send you an email just to keep you, abreast of where
That'd be
things
great.
stand.
Thank you, Holly.
You're welcome.
Are we ready to move on? Does anyone have anything else they want to say?
So the tax credit, we really should look at it as a rebate? Is that, okay,
Exactly.
okay.
That's the simplest way to think of it, is you invest whatever you spend and you're going to get 30% back, essentially.
What's 30% of 363,000?
What is that?
Uh,
90,000?
90,000? Yeah,
So
should be.
it would reduce to
Mhm.
200.
Mhm.
90,000 back. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
90 plus, because it's
And then,
363.
and then if we
Mm.
have
Which puts us a lot closer to what our budget is.
200.
It does.
Yeah.
It's
225.
you just don't get it until after you've already spent
Right.
it. So that's why I call it a rebate, because
Right.
you still have to have the money
Mhm.
to complete the project before you can ask for,
That's
It back.
frustrating.
yeah, but that's just
But
the way it
still.
is. But it's better than not having that ability, so.
Right, because then you can use it on your next project.
Exactly. So so now you have a little bit, hopefully, some better idea of what that entails and what that looks
It would be
like.
great if it could also be figured out how to do all 3 and what the money would be and everything.
And that may be where we have to, bring a lot more input. Like you were saying, I don't know. I don't know what, the appetite or the
Run the
potential.
numbers and to see, what the benefit is of doing all three,
Mhm.
given you get this 30% back. Do they have a ceiling? Is there a ceiling on how much tax credit you can get back?
So there is, the way that they do it is there's a base percent. So it depends on the size of the system. So all of ours are below 1 megawatt, which is what the requirement is to claim the 30%. If you go over that, it gets much more arduous to show to meet the requirements. And then you can add on for different things. They call them adders. So there's like a base amount and then there are adders. But the problem with the adders is they're very hard to take advantage of because it depends on what the source of your materials was, if it was made with like American. You start getting into the where it was made, manufactured, and then also there's like a wage thing that you have to prove that the people that did the labor it gets incredibly difficult to pull together paperwork. And if you know what you're looking for up front, you can put all that into the procurement documents, like we could have that in the contract. I just don't know. I don't know how effective that would be. 30% is it's a pretty good baseline to not have to go into the more arduous things. There's also an adder for low income areas if you're doing the project in a low income area. However, they only open the application window for that like once a year. And if the timing doesn't match up with where you are in the project, let me just say, it's very, they make it kind of challenging to get any of the adders very easily. So we could certainly pursue any that we thought that we could get, but whether through the procurement process or just again, staying abreast of timing, we didn't. The previous project was it was done by the time you have to apply for the low income adder before you begin construction. So if it's not open and we're trying to begin construction, we miss the opportunity. So it's kind of,
So
it's very governmental.
to what degree is Duke Energy involved in this?
So Duke Energy is involved from the standpoint of, once we got to the construction phase, then you have to obviously connect into their system. Yes. So you have to do an interconnection agreement with Duke Energy. And really, I think it's just coordination and making sure that, they know that we're bringing this new system online and things of that nature. So,
Charge to do this.
um,
They charge residential people using solar because your energy goes to them and then they give it back. And then there's a base fee you have to pay them. There's all types of things Duke does to solar.
I didn't see any of that previously, but it's possible. I mean, we're coordinating with them, on other projects. So
Maybe they'll give the municipality a different sort of deal.
I mean,
than
I was
residential
going to say,
people get.
I don't know because I have not ever been part of the structuring of the interconnection agreement, but I just know that that's kind of the mechanism to get it all approved through
Thing
them.
is, if you look at how much your energy bill is for these different places, you have to also look at how much Duke Energy will charge you once you have the solar installed.
I will certainly check into it.
Because they do charge residential people,
That's true. And it went up recently too.
and they keep making
Everything.
it go up.
The story of power rates right now.
So, okay, are we ready to move on?
We are ready to move on. So
That's such good news about this.
I'm very
it feels
happy about
it feels hopeful, right? It feels
Yeah.
positive.
Very.
That's a good thing. Okay, so the next topic. I don't actually have any files. So dovetailing on to Dr. Mick and I met, and we were talking about kind of the letter that Siobhan drafted, which we didn't finalize in time to
Right.
get it sent to the BOC prior to the CRA meeting. However, I put this on the agenda. Dr. McGinn said we should have a discussion. And so I called it the creation of sustainability guidelines for the development review process, essentially. So my thinking is that that letter kind of clicked on a little light bulb that said, where does the rubber meet the road? What you all are interested in doing is you're interested in having input, having say, creating perhaps guidelines that could be looked at through part of the development review process. So where that ends up happening really is through the technical review committee. And so I say committee, through the process. So when developers, come in, they're talking to planning zoning, they're talking to building development, they get whatever applications they need, checklists. So maybe there's a sustainability checklist that needs to be made, right?
Yes, indeed.
And so I just thought that, instead of having to do a one-off letter on this, on that, when
We should
it
have
should be,
standard.
and to be clear, I do think, it would be non-regulatory. We don't have that authority, I don't have that authority. Any guidelines that were given would just be that.
Yeah.
Suggestions, how can this development include more sustainable components, right? Thoughtfulness and design features that are, whether you want to talk about landscaping, whatever it is. So I just put this on because I thought that, maybe you all could kind of take, whether it's, the next 2 meetings or however you want to do it, and kind of outline, have a discussion about what those things are to you all that are important in the development, redevelopment, sphere for Tarpon Springs.
So, Holly and I had a meeting, and because I needed to know what I was supposed to do. And we talked at length about what our job as a committee would be. And that, and in some ways, a frustration that we aren't more active, that we don't have action, and just sitting around talking isn't enough for us.
We're not integrated. No.
Exactly. And so Holly's was incredibly receptive. And as you can see, she's moved in this direction. And I commend you, Holly, for that, because this is exactly what I think the committee wants.
Great.
And we all have an expertise in terms of moving this ahead. So I would suggest, and hear what everyone else wants to say, that we do the next 2 meetings, and we take it upon ourselves for the next one to have things. And Siobhan has done an excellent job in starting this. And one of the things that Holly mentioned, since she was part of the review committee for the city, was that there are things, sustainability issues, not just about the environment, but sustainability issues about economics, about is a development sustainable in the sense that if you build it and suppose you have shops in it, are those shops going to be maintained? Are they going to end up being empty? So that's sustainability. So we have to think in a broad way about it. And Holly told me that she has a background in city development.
City planning, yes. I have a master's in city planning.
So those things are very useful. So we certainly want your input on this.
I am absolutely here to, just facilitate, really.
But if you can also make suggestions about what
Absolutely.
you think should be included, because it could be an incredibly valuable document.
I think that a starting point is kind of looking at, again, where I always go is, what are some other cities peer cities, doing? How do they address this in their processes? So, I would kind of look for something that could maybe serve as a loose guide and bring that to you all, and you can say, yes, this is what we want, but we want to, add. This is what's Tarpon specific, what's important to us. And then you can take things out that don't apply, that kind of thing. I always think of ways to work, smarter And
Yeah.
you don't need to reinvent the wheel or maybe start from scratch. If there's something that another city that you like is doing, or you think,
Would you have a suggestion about where to look?
I'm part of a network of
Oh, so you can,
sustainability directors for the entire Southeast. So I can really, look at what other people have as part of their review process and ask them to send me, do you have a set of guidelines that you give to developers? How do you infuse, sustainability considerations into that? And some might have, I don't know. I don't know how other cities, do it holistically. We haven't obviously really gotten to
maybe
that
we'll
part
be
yet.
the first
So-
ones and you'll initiate it for other people.
I don't think we'll be the first ones, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna see what we can
And you'll
make
send
happen.
that to us so we can use that.
Yes, I think that would be a good starting
Yeah.
framework,
Yeah.
and then you could work from that.
I actually got super excited about this idea when I was here last month and, went home and I was like, oh, we need a quantifiable system for all of it. And started looking into it. And there actually is a framework. It's called LEAD, Leadership in
Yes.
Energy and Environmental Design for Cities. And they have the framework. I printed out some stuff.
Yes.
This sort of
Yes.
as Holly was saying,
Starting point.
and Dr. Mickett was saying, that we can sort of use as a jumping off point. And
So can you send that to Holly and then she?
yeah.
Yes.
And I love it because I think it's pulling in already some of the things that you guys are saying. And I think overlapping it with the sustainability plan for Tarpon Springs, like we can look at what are the things that we as a community value. Maybe not necessarily giving it the same point values, but I think it would be a really great idea for us to be able to go and say, okay, just as like a suggestion, here's what the sustainability committee would grade this project or this idea based on all of these elements or dimensions.
Criteria.
Yeah. So I think that this would be a cool way to start.
Right. No, I love that you found the LEAD framework. The one thing I'll say about LEAD is it is very, it's all encompassing. It's
Yeah.
very thorough. A lot of cities will take that as their base, kind of build off of it, like you're suggesting, Dr. Scally. And I think that's a really great idea, to where LEAD could be somewhat burdensome, I think, in
It's a
some
lot.
cases. Yeah, to just, again, pare it down a little bit and make it more approachable, but it is such a great framework. It really, really is. And, we actually, the city of Tarpon Springs previously, we've been certified 3 times, I think, as a Florida, by the Florida Green Building Coalition. So, as a local government that is interested in and values it, I feel like we haven't translated that into the built environment as much. So this could be a great, and I personally am like, if we could ever get a building, whether it's LEED certified, there are other certifications as well. LEED is definitely the tip top. It's the highest sort of industry standard, I guess, if you will, for, in the green building industry or in the sustainability world, as far as what, local government operations and professionals sort of can look to for certifications.
And actually, one of the articles that I found online, it cited Pinellas County as, sort of a model for LEED sustainability. So I'm sure that there are cities that we could maybe pull from theirs, but obviously we want to put our touch on it. It just gives us a good idea of not just development, but implementation of it at a city level.
The school system in Pinellas County gets LEED awards all the time.
Yeah.
They've been really good. I think one thing is, like, I noticed things like environmental justice or something. And I think what one has to ask is, well, what does that mean?
Right.
And put it in, natural language to give examples of what we're thinking about. And you started to do that in this. And I think that, for me, those charts are helpful, but it's like,
It's
well, then
jargon.
anything,
Yeah.
it's jargon.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be good examples of how not to use jargon, but to use natural language and make sense.
Yeah.
So thank you
Right.
for finding that.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, that's
It was
really-
exciting.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, that's great research. That's super, super good starting point. Excellent. Well, fabulous.
So,
Okay.
Is, now the letter, what happens to the letter?
So now, this is just my perspective on it, but, kind of what we're talking about is creating a non-regulatory guidelines or sort of a policy to ask developers to go through a sustainability checklist. So, I'm not sure about the process, I guess, for getting that implemented, but I think an intro letter, but I think what you have in your letter is a lot of, that needs to go into the guidelines,
Right.
right? Like, I think that,
Well, I think we have an opportunity here with this new project on Main Street, the one that was just voted on, the boutique hotel. And I think we could, if we get our guidelines done, because, the process is gonna take them a little bit to get
Yes.
all
Yeah.
ready. They
Yeah.
just got the approval.
Mhm.
So maybe that's our test case
Mhm.
or pilot project.
I'm not sure at all about the process, but I do know that it should go through the technical review committee as well. So like you said, if we get that done, if for some reason the timing doesn't line up, I still think it would be great to flesh out, what you all wanted to say. Should this first, should the opportunity to give input precede, I guess, having guidelines ready? I think you can absolutely do that and just, say sustainability considerations. It seemed like from the, proposal from the presentation that they gave and everything, that they are, they're obviously being mindful of how it's going to blend in and work with the landscape, the surroundings. But whatever you all want to say specifically in regards to that project, I think you could still, do that as well. And it might be, I'll have to ask who it would like be addressed to because the negotiation process is a little bit different for this than like if just a developer comes in and proposes something as a one-off, like, oh, we own the land at the corner of, US 19 and whatever street, and we're going to build a, 18-story high-rise. That's made up. That's not happening. That's not real. I'm just giving an example of if someone said that, then they would have to go through all of the proper development channels. This one will too, but I'm just not sure because it's kind of happening through a slightly different process with the invitation to negotiate and the, CRA guidelines and all of that. Like, I don't know exactly the timing, so I'll try to find out a little more detail on that as well.
Yeah, I think it's important that we address this.
Um,
And the other thing is, and haven't heard anybody mention this, is that there is a boutique hotel going in downtown that should be up and running by December.
Where is that?
Sun Ring. It's
yeah.
the old
Oh,
livery.
yeah, the livery, right.
It's a new
Yeah.
boutique hotel, and I know that because all the art in it
Is you're doing it.
is ours.
Oh,
Cool.
very cool.
When I drove by, I saw that they were putting structure out in front, wood beam.
In the back.
No, in the very front.
Oh, yeah, so,
Yeah.
I was in it not too long ago. I was in it not too long ago. What happened?
You have
Yes, I do.
Oh, I
and
do.
They
I
have
have
a
a copy.
Band-Aid.
Okay, good.
I think you do, yeah. There's also a box of tissues over there too.
Oh, look what else I found.
A Band-Aid. Oh, no, white.
Thank you. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
No.
Sorry.
I don't have a Band-Aid. Usually I have Band-Aid. Okay, moving. Oh, yes, I do. How about that?
Wow.
Hey, I'll prepare.
Mary Poppins bag.
The other, I think they mentioned in the article I read about the proposals that there was another proposal that was interesting with containers, shipping containers, and they are encouraging them to look for another site. And I think that would be really interesting because it's a forward-thinking sort of thing, and that could be a very sustainable thing. limited in our town about regarding gathering spots. And it's going to take a while for the conversion of the mother mirrors, but
That, I know, I thought that the concept of the container, park is a very cool concept, and the board did support it very much. Like you said, they said, don't give up, on this concept. So it could be something that very likely comes to fruition somewhere else in the city, which would be really exciting.
Yeah.
Um,
'cause,
You know?
I went to one in Austin and it was unbelievable. Just
They're cool. There's
terrific.
several other in the area, so.
And I went to Costa Rica and painted murals in the jungle on shipping containers and at a yoga center, and it was so amazing what you can do with
Mm.
it.
Love
So
it.
I
No,
was
it
very
is.
excited
And they're
about.
recycled, so.
Yeah, it's right up,
Our alley.
our alley, yeah.
Yeah. Terrific.
So I don't know if there's a way for us to contact the people who have presented that and send encouragement their way, possibly.
Maybe not as a.
I was gonna say, I don't think that you could do that as a,
City.
as the representative of the city, but if you wanted to encourage them as an individual, you could probably, yeah. It was very interesting to look at all of the, the ideas that people come up with. Oops, that's the cool thing about.
So I think to end this section, I think that, so in the future, when things come up, we can, think about ways to do action.
Mhm.
We'd be prepared because we'd have our guideline.
And for other things
Yeah.
too.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so items for the next agenda. I did speak to I guess she's the chair of the Fosterman,
Okay,
and she'd like to come to the November.
great.
I mean, I will contact her again.
Okay.
I've been in Montreal for 2 weeks, so
Mm.
I've been sort of
For you.
some. And I'll comment about that in my committee comments. But, so that would be a good item to talk about that and follow up some of the things that Robin Sanger had suggested and just ways the city can partner and we can, and who knows?
So you'll reach out and invite her for
I shall.
November and confirm that she's available.
Yes.
Great. And that would be our number one.
And I
Item.
will also reach out to Christine about Coyotes meeting.
Great.
Christine Reck Carter is her name.
We may not have to put that on the agenda. Well, hopefully we'll have something in progress, and that won't necessarily be an agenda item for the next, but yes, it's a
But just
follow-up.
put it on just so that we
Project
can.
update. Perfect.
Yeah, project update.
And
And then we should talk about this,
the development guidelines.
the development pipeline, and your update about the solar.
I think that's a lot. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other items that anyone would like?
No, I
sounds
think that
good.
that's going to be a very productive meeting.
And remember to put in some guidelines, given your background,
Mhm.
about how to make spaces that, are really health supporting, psychologically health supporting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a major thing when Robert and I build things. It's like, how's this going to feel? Will people want to be in it?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important. Enough light coming in, not ceilings that you feel claustrophobic in.
Yeah,
So I think, if you would think about that, given
absolutely.
your
Yeah.
background.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to know more about the plans for the Mother Mirrors?
I would have to reach out to, I don't even know. I can find out who is
Yeah,
spearheading that. I don't even know within the city, honestly, which entity. I don't know where it is in discussions.
didn't the mayor suggest that, or said that?
City manager,
City
it would
managers
be,
talk
I meant
yes,
the city
but
manager.
again, he would be my go-to person to ask, but I don't know, where it is obviously in
When he
any.
was here, he
process.
mentioned it.
Yeah, right, but
He
maybe
did,
that could
and-
be something for the future, a future item?
We can ask for an update on that at some point. I would say November's pretty packed, our meeting, but we can see if we can get, even if he can just send me something that I can share.
Okay, so
Um,
when is the December meeting?
Right.
When is
so-
the November meeting?
I was going to say, so the November meeting is the week of I believe it's the 20th of
The
November.
20th,
Would be
right.
the third Thursday.
Okay, so that's before Thanksgiving. I'm just thinking
Correct.
about people going away.
Yes, and then December is going to be
The
the 18th.
Okay, it is the 1, 2, 3, 4th day of Hanukkah.
Okay, if anyone has a, again, conflict that comes up between now and either of the next two meetings, just be sure to let me know so that we can adjust properly.
And make
um,
sure we have a
And make sure we
quorum.
have a
As
quorum.
long as we have 3, we're okay.
Yes, we may hold a meeting with 3 people.
Yeah. I'm
And
ready.
then,
on the calendar.
January will be the absolute earliest it could ever be. It will be on the 15th. Because that is the third Thursday, believe it or not. The first is on a Thursday. So that will feel pretty quick at the beginning of the year as well. But we will just take it one meeting at a time as far as
Yes, we shall.
confirming scheduling. Great.
Okay, so the upcoming fall newsletter.
Yes, it's in production. We have some fun, or there's going to be a little like sustainability spotlight on the cemeteries, doing some native plantings. Christina, my intern, has been working on it, so I actually have just been letting her
Do we
run
have a
with
new
it.
arborist?
We do have a new arborist. Her name is Mona Neville. She's been here for a few weeks-ish. So she is in the planning and zoning department, and
Can she come to our meetings so we can meet her?
I will certainly invite her. I don't know what her capacity is for I know she's been super busy just meeting everyone and getting acquainted with a lot of things that are happening in the city, but I will extend the invitation for whenever she might be able to.
Yeah, because
Meet
we've
us,
always had a good
you all.
relationship with the arborist.
She was at I know that Siobhan had asked me for her contact information. She's been at workshops, she's been at meetings, so I know she has just been, whatever the expression is, drinking from a, fire hose. It's just a lot when you are picking up,
Where's she from?
She's local. She grew up in, for lack of a better word, this area, maybe Pasco. Anyway, she would have to tell you more about her background, but she's been with the state Forest Service for some number of years, I think, prior to this. So, yeah.
The name sounds familiar. Do you know her?
No.
Okay, are we on to the storm drain mural program?
Yes. So just a brief little update. There was a public art committee meeting on last Wednesday, the 8th. I attended that. So the public art committee is working on the call to artists aspect, fleshing that out. City staff, myself, as well as the cultural arts staff, we're working on more of the, pricing, just making sure we have all the details in place. I would say probably, there's another meeting. The Public Art Committee voted to have their meetings now, I think, every 2 months. They were on a quarterly schedule. They voted to have more. So they will be meeting again in December. And I think after that meeting, we'll kind of be able to take it to the next phase of whatever approvals or anything that needs to happen. And I think probably in the first quarter, or I'll just loosely say spring of 2026 is when maybe any, movement as far as painting and art and that kind of thing would actually be starting. But it's very exciting, so it's moving along. And yeah, there's just a lot of good energy around it. So it's
I
an
heard the art
exciting-
committee input.
Yeah, they seem to be they are very supportive of it, which is great. It's a cool collaboration because it's sustainability. We've got streets and stormwater. We've got cultural arts.
Mhm.
You know, multiple committees having kind of been involved, pushing it forward. So I think it's just a cool.
Good.
It's just a great opportunity to work together. So there's that, and then I just was going to make sure you all saw that I gave you the budget, sheet and I don't really have anything additional to say about it, but I just wanted to make sure that you saw it was provided. And so you don't have to look through a 400-page budget book to find it.
Much appreciated.
Sure, that's no problem.
So it's good. I mean, it's more money than it was last year.
It's just, it's just allocated slightly, differently. And then of course with the line item for solar, that's really just it's a huge win.
Yeah. Good. Are you happy with it?
I am very happy with it. I'm capable capable to do a lot with what I'm given. We'll just keep doing as much as we can with what we have.
Well, you seem to be doing a lot and we all appreciate it.
Good.
Well, I shouldn't say that I appreciate it. Everyone else can speak for themselves.
I second that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your time and your energy. That's really my only other staff comment.
Okay, so committee comments. I'm going to talk about some things that happened in Montreal. So we had to wait in a long line to get a taxi. So most people take taxis from the airport. And there was a long line. And we're like, oh, well, there's a Tesla. Hey, look, that's a Blazer like yours. Oh, it's an Equinox. Look at that. And then when we got in the cab, all cab drivers are required to have an electric car or a hybrid. And they have to be 2021 or newer. And the cab drivers own their car. So they also drive their car. So the taxis, and that, most people go with a taxi from the airport. They don't use Uber so much. But so this is a requirement in Montreal that you have to have it. So they're the cars that move the most, right?
Yeah.
It is incredible. And the other thing that was really nice about the taxi is it's a fixed fee. If you're going into Montreal, which is an island, it's one fee no matter where you're going in that zone. So there's no issue about, are they taking advantage of you?
Yeah.
Are they like going the wrong way? In New York, you got to go, don't go that way, go this way, because but so that was remarkable. And then, we walked all around the city. We were like crazy people walking. But people own electric cars. The amount of electric cars was unbelievable. So that was refreshing, very. So it was nice. It was nice being in the city. They have an incredible metro system. We became experts on the metro system. And we went to a hockey game and we could take the metro to the hockey game, as did most other people who went. So there's just this real awareness. And the other thing they had were open markets. So you'd go to these giant markets and there was, local food and not only vegetables and fruits and all of that, but whole like areas where you could get organic meats and then all of this bread and pastries, that incredible croissant that we found the most incredible almond croissant. It was so it was really instructive going there, and they have a giant park that was designed by Olmsted, who designed Central Park in New York City. And we hiked around that. But the people, and lots of people are out walking. And one of the things, we took this hop on, hop off tour bus just to get a sense. And the bus driver said, we're a peaceful, tolerant city. And it was, they have a whole, like a Christopher Street area that has rainbows down the middle of the road. And I mean, that's, he said we're a peaceful, tolerant city. And it was really
Refreshing.
remarkable to have this bus driver.
Yes,
Tell
make a
us this.
statement like.
Right. So, I mean, it was delightful to be there. I have to say that when I went there, I thought, maybe I'd move there. But no, it didn't, there wasn't a place that called me. But I would go back and to see the difference in how this city in Canada has approached things that we aren't approaching.
Well, it's a very European city.
A very European city.
Did you hear a lot of French?
They all speak French, but they all speak English too. It's, you do your basic French, but they're very accommodating. And, but it was nice to hear the French. And
I spent a lot of time in Denmark this summer.
ah,
I have family there, and it's the same sort of
Yeah.
thing where I am just so inspired by everything I see there. I mean, from the wildflowers. My daughter was just, as we're my husband's in a line to get our rental car, and she's just basically right outside the doors, like wildflowers. And like they treasure that so much
Yeah.
and value the importance of it. And she, she literally was just sitting in it, just like absorbing the flowers and the energy of the place. And it was a parking lot for a rental car agency. And I just thought,
Well, every public space is really considered. I've been to Denmark.
yes.
And I went to Vermont on my part of my vacation,
Wow.
and we went to Burlington, and they have the most beautiful bike trail. We rented electric bikes right
Wow.
there. And that was great. But 2 years ago, I went on a European trip for 3 weeks, starting in Ireland and ending in Prague. And my friends and I just couldn't get over how worked out the transportation system is there. I mean, in Germany, it's very complex, and they told us, don't worry, because we get confused sometimes. It's overthought, but just getting around is
Yeah.
just, and we came back to the United States and we're like, oh,
yeah.
there's just so much
Yes.
work to be
There
done
really
here.
is a lot of work to be
Yeah.
done.
The public transportation is,
I agree.
And
a
then,
big
that
deal.
adds so much to your quality of life.
It
and
does.
your
It really does.
It
mental
does. And our
attitude.
safety too.
Yes.
safety.
Yeah.
And it's so easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for parking. You don't have to do anything. You just,
And pricing of it,
Mhm.
and then you're with people of all different, income ranges and cultural,
Definitely.
and that's very positive
Yes, I
mentally too,
agree.
because we're too segregated in
I
the United
agree.
States and our little,
Agree. We're very isolated.
yes.
It's very easy to fall into
And
a
we're
very
very,
isolated life.
as a society, there's so much depression, right, because of that.
so that's, why it's good to hear we're doing solar projects. And it's good to hear that the city, and I know the mayor really is into creating community spaces.
Yeah.
And he understands the importance of that. So, we have this small town. It's not a big city. We don't have all those resources, but so we can see it as our job.
I
to
really
encourage
love
this.
that. And if we can even just think about ways to make it an inviting space, because I know that parking lot is not very inviting.
No.
I mean, you're just getting the exhaust from the cars driving by.
Right.
So it would be nice if like a structure somehow, some sort of thin wall or plants
Right.
can maybe create some sort of like boundary to separate the road.
Well, that would be why a
and
good
that way we can have a
idea.
nice space to actually feel like,
To meet the arborist.
Yes, that's
and
true.
Siobhan has mentioned before creating like a network of people who can maintain things. I mean, there is a community garden, but, you know, Montreal had wildflowers everywhere too, and they have this incredible botanical garden that's so huge. But there's no reason that for those sorts of things that, you know, people, citizens of Tarpon can't join up together and plant things.
that's true. Even in Safety Harbor, they have a really cute park there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and Dunedin has Pioneer Park.
right.
But I have to say about, Tarpon is showing some color, you know, we have nice pots and stuff,
Yes.
and that's sort of recent, and I think that's super positive.
I think the city
Definitely.
manager's doing a good job.
Yes.
But, I mean, we do have the problem that, you know, it's really hot
Yeah.
That's so
and we've
true.
got to water
Yes.
and, you
Some
know, there's
beautiful
not a lot
shade
of
trees
shade.
would be
Well, we have a
nice.
watering truck.
Yeah,
um,
we do.
And I was just noticing walking up tonight, and I always do the finger test. There are these begonias out there and they don't have, you know, and I always notice, do they have drips on those pots? And they didn't have drips, and they were nice and moist, and because I'm like, how are these begonias making it through this?
Yes.
Because they've been there a couple months and all that heat, and so there's somebody here who's really
Taking
on the
good care of
job.
them.
And it's really nice to have that
It is.
It is.
burst of color right there. And then on the trail, you know, we have some pots on the trail, which are nice. And I mean, I came here 30 years ago and it was pretty rough. And it has really improved. But we still have this problem of not enough public spaces to gather.
Mhm.
It's all like, okay, if you want to buy something, you know?
Yes, it's, yes,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right. It's very
very
retail driven.
Very retail driven.
So maybe one of the things we can think about is identifying places that could be public. I mean, the Peace Pole just went up, and there's benches that you can go there. But it's a little, you know, you have to go there. But I know one of the things the mayor talked about, and I know that this has been a project in terms of art we've thought about, is creating places that are connected, you know, so there's one here and then you can go here and there's a theme that connects them. So if we could start identifying.
Well, the other thing I've been thinking about for a long time is, and I've thrown this out, but it never went anywhere.
Don't throw it out. That's all.
I guess that's the problem, but different municipalities have different citrus. You know,
Right.
Dunedin, I was there right then when they started, and I know the people who did it. And they just did it as a gag, painted it at night, and then they were like,
The
they
oranges, you
called,
mean?
yeah, and then they called the press and they're like, where did this come from? I mean, they were very clever about it. And Safety Harbor has oranges, and I'd love Tarpon to have lemons. And then we could have this mural, this citrus trail, you know, mural citrus trail.
Well, somebody has in the city painted little
Sponge divers.
helmet
Yeah.
on, people have them on their houses and they
Okay.
have them. So,
Yeah.
but it's a really good idea and it can be a trail and then there can be places to
Yes.
gather,
Yeah,
you know,
Right.
benches.
Right.
And that's something the mayor's talked about.
right. And then
and
we, you know.
I
we could-
think it's a really
We
good
could have a
idea.
lemon festival. Friends of mine are buying an apartment in the lemon capital of France.
Sorrento? Oh,
Of
that's
France.
in Italy.
Which it's menthol, and they have this fantastic lemon festival, and that works with our Greek culture.
Mhm.
And in Sorrento in Italy.
Yes.
It's where they make limoncello.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a few years ago they were really talking a lot about trying to get more connectivity between the sponge docks and downtown, creating a
That's being
walking
worked
trail,
on.
and
Yes.
so, you know, if we could sort of, you know, jump onto that, how do we contribute to that, you know, if it,
Sidebar, I'll tell you.
okay, yeah.
So the city is currently undertaking a placemaking,
Right.
a whole placemaking exercise, planning exercise, and has an excellent consultant coming in. I think they're based out of Gainesville, but really, really great. They have the second input session, workshop session coming up next week. I want to say the
23rd.
yes, I was going to say the 23rd, Thursday. It's on Connect Tarpon. If you're signed up for Connect Tarpon, you should have gotten an email about it. If you're not signed up for Connect Tarpon, go to Connect Tarpon, get signed up.
I think it's 6 to 8.
I believe that is correct, but it is at the community center and
The community center, that's going to have solar.
we sure hope so. So, but that's one of the things they're talking about. The first workshop, I went to the section that was for like the planning and zoning board, just so I could kind of see what they
I
were
went to
doing.
the first
Since
one.
I have a planning background and I'm just interested in that, but the connections between downtown Sponge Docks definitely being talked about. Public places, what type of activities are suitable for which areas, that kind of thing. Like, would it just be an open space? Would there be a commercial component? All of that stuff, kind of voting with your eyes and putting stickers. It's like a charrette activity, kind of giving them an indication of what the people of Tarpon Springs want to see in future developments. And of course, the planning, guidelines are what really set up what you're going to see being built. So anyway, so that's, so that, and spread the word, right? With your networks, with just the more people that have a say,
Right.
the more information they get, the better representative the outcome of those types of exercises is. I think that the first one was very well attended in my understanding, but
It was well attended, but
it's still a small group overall of,
it didn't really work.
it was, the exercise was a little bit complicated, I think. So I'm not sure what they're,
Complicated, but people wanted to talk about stuff, and there wasn't. You just
Okay.
were told to put stickers,
Yeah.
and then it was like,
okay.
so it didn't have the depth and breadth that I think. It would have been better if people could sit together and talk about things than just be given these stickers. And
I'm not sure
so
what
it
the
didn't
format
really
is of the.
work. It didn't really work as well as I thought it would. And I mean, people were there and they wanted to engage.
Good feedback. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know, again, what the format of the next one is. I imagine it's going to be different than the first one, but again, I'm not at all. It's not in my department. I just want to be informed and, kind of know what the planning department is doing and, how sustainability obviously ties in with that. And so I would just encourage you to, go try to see what it's all about. And but yeah, it's a huge effort. The placemaking, I think the city's been doing branding stuff as well. There's been a
What's
lot of
happened with
things.
the branding? Because the last time with branding, I couldn't go.
I do not know what the current,
The
I
first
don't know
one.
what the status is of the branding efforts. I believe they've been doing that more in with the downtown effort, but I'm not 100% sure about. So, but hopefully there's information on either Connect Tarpon or I definitely have seen an email about that as well. So, I think that we have a effort to make, a central calendar for all the things on the website. So hopefully that's, if it's not already there, that's something that'll be happening as well.
Well, one thing the city has been doing that I hadn't seen before is every day I get a notice for the Facebook page. There's one thing that comes up.
Oh,
And I'd never received that before. I think that's new.
okay.
And so it's really nice. It's some announcement about, maybe a road is going to be
Sure.
closed or this meeting or something about the fire department or whatever.
Yes.
But it's nice to have one every day.
Yes, I will say, I think having a public information officer, his name is Jordan, he's amazing, is, that's
Yes, we've
great for
met.
the city.
Yeah,
It's
he's
just,
a good guy.
it's a huge, it's just a great resource to have. So he does a really good job.
I also like the digital board they have on Tarpon Avenue. Driving home with my kids from school and I see it, I'm like, oh, that's going on. It really does communicate to
does.
people.
I love the idea. It would be cool if it was prettier.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it would, wouldn't
I
it?
was just thinking that the other day. I was
Right?
like, I love that this is what it's doing, but it would be really nice if it was not like a construction road
Right.
sign.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good recommendation,
Mm.
because it's one of the first things you see
Mhm.
when you come off of 19.
Yep.
And it doesn't speak so well. It does look like a construction
Mhm.
thing.
If you don't know to look at
Right,
it for the, sort of city
Right.
announcement, it would just look like, what are they telling me about the roads coming up?
yeah, it looks like, if that's going to be permanent, it seems like a good permanent structure that looks good.
Mm.
Can you recommend that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any,
I mean,
but I can absolutely
and you know
recommend
what?
that.
Mention it to the art committee.
Yep.
I mean,
There could
honestly,
It could be a public art thing,
Right?
right?
The,
component,
Mm-hmm,
you know.
it's, a digital sign there, but that has, like you said, a permanent,
right.
more appealing surrounding
Yeah.
structure.
You can make
Like
it
a
an art
frame or
project.
something
Yeah.
with mosaic.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
art project.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bid up.
They,
Okay, is
Perfect.
there any other thing, or can we adjourn?
I think we can adjourn.
Do I have a motion?
A motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Who's second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dun, dun, dun. Well
Another
done.
great meeting.
Yeah.
and it's 7:26.